I wanted to add a little bit to the last video I did on Bitcoin. I had talked a little bit about how Bitcoin can be stored on an exchange, or it can be stored on a hardware device in what some people call cold storage. And a couple things I didn't think to mention is another thing that's different about Bitcoin as compared to cash or gold or silver is that it can be transferred electronically. With cash, in order to transfer it electronically, you're going to have to deposit it in a bank or something to that effect before you can transfer it electronically. Same thing with gold or silver. Yeah, for example, maybe you would have to convert gold, to cash first, and then deposit it in the bank, and then you can transfer it electronically. With Bitcoin, as long as you know the address you want to send your Bitcoin to, you can send it to another Bitcoin address you have, if you want to have it on another form of storage or another device. Or if there's someone you want to send Bitcoin to, you just, as long as you know their address, you send it to that address and it will transfer electronically. And the speed at which you will do that depends on how much you want to pay. The example I gave was I was transferring $5 to transfer it in less than 10 minutes. Was 52 cents, which is a little more than 10%. And it actually only took about 3 seconds, but maybe even less, because by the time I looked at the other device, it was already there, which is about 3 seconds later. Then as far as if you want to play like 20 cents, I think it was around 20 cents, then I was going to transfer in less than an hour. And there was other payment options too. It just depends on how quickly you want the money to be transferred to the new address. Then with gold and silver, the weight, and cash too, there's a weight factor. Whereas with Bitcoin, there is not. With whether you have it on an exchange, it's stored electronically, or maybe you have it stored on a Trezor or some other cold storage device like that. The Trezor is probably it's like a flash drive, about the size of a flash drive, 2 inches by 2 inches, by maybe a quarter inch, or maybe weighs 2 or 3 ounces. You could store $5 on there, or $1, $100, $1,000, $1 million, $10 million, $100 million. It just would depend on how much you wanted to put on there, and the weight is not going to change, of course. Now, if you want to have $1 million of cash, the largest bill you can get is a $100 bill. So that's about 22 pounds, and it will fit in a briefcase, but just to kind of give you an idea of the weight and the size that would occupy. Then with gold, or at least right now, it's around $2,000 an ounce. So a pound of gold is going to be $32,000. If you want to get to $1 million, you're going to have to, multiply that by about 30. So that's going to give you about, 30 pounds of gold, a little more than what cash would weigh, as far as if gold's at $2,000 an ounce. Then, with silver's about $30 an ounce right now. So silver is going to weigh 60 times more than almost 70 times more than what the gold weighs. So instead of 30 pounds, you're going to have, around 2,100 pounds, which is over a ton. But obviously an ounce of silver is about $30. That's a lot more transactable for a lot of transactions than an ounce of gold, which is $2,000. So you're just going to have various ways you can store money and store wealth, and various things to take into account as far as securing it, storing it, etc. But just wanted to add some of those things just so that could be factored in a little bit. Thanks a lot.